Okay, so we're going to talk about two main things that are going to be on your quiz tomorrow. Are talking about soil formation, and then once the soil is formed, the soil profile. So I'm going to kind of read through this with you. We'll chat about it, bring up some of the ideas. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask your questions. We'll just kind of discuss. So the soil begins to form when bedrock is broken apart into small pieces of rock and minerals. Rain, ice, wind, rock, and minerals. Let's try that again. Rain, ice, wind, freezing, and thawing can do this. Now, when we saw the brain pop video, we've talked about this, all those things, rain, ice, freezing, wind, thawing, can all fall into, there's a term that means all those things. Who knows? Speak up.
Erosion.
Not erosion, but it's in the same family as erosion.
Oh.
Who? Say it louder, I can hear you.
Weathering.
Weathering, exactly. Thank you, Nabi. Weathering. Weathering, all those things right there are all types of weathering. Excuse me. Chemical changes can do it too. Well, what else breaks apart rock? Well, now, let's think about this for a second. You have this bedrock. It's pretty solid. Okay, you have a bedrock pretty solid. But eventually, over hundreds and thousands of years, with weathering and just being beaten down by rain and wind and all this stuff, little holes start forming, little cracks start forming in that bedrock. Eventually, well, not eventually, but water will get down in those cracks, and that causes breaking it down more. Also, plants, simple plants. And I always like to envision what we saw in the Brain Pop video, and I'll put the Brain Pop video on the blog so you guys can watch it again tonight if you'd like to help you study. But it's a really good visual of those simple plants growing out of that bedrock. Head up, please, Mary Hayes. Okay? Those simple plants growing up. So when those simple plants start to grow up, what is going down into the bedrock even further? Anybody?
Roots.
Roots. Okay, you've got the root system. And what do those roots do?
Break apart the bedrock.
Break apart the bedrock even more. Okay, they break apart the bedrock even more. And along with those simple plants, when those cracks get a little wider, there's more space, other organisms start to get into the bedrock as well. And they dig. But the word they use in the book is what? Burrow. Okay? Burrowing animals. What are some burrowing organisms that are mentioned? Luke, give me one.
Worms.
Earthworms. That's one type of burrowing animal.
Moles.
Moles. Elizabeth. Ants.
Beetles.
Beetles.
Like roly-polies.
You know what? Roly-polies probably not so much. Now, yes, roly-polies, because we witnessed it in our terrariums, do dig down into soil. I'm going to venture to say that they're probably not strong enough to dig down into sturdier bedrock, but eventually, yes.
Like centipedes.
Centipedes. You can see the picture there on C44. Okay, hands down. Lots of different burrowing creatures. So that burrowing digs up more, breaks it up more, and allows for more water to get in there, more weathering to occur, more erosion to occur. Now another thing about those earthworms is that they're decomposers. You remember the song? Maybe you don't, maybe you do. Mushrooms, bacteria, and then there is mold. They eat non-living things, that is what I'm told. These are decomposers, they help to clean the earth, so remember decomposers because of their great worth. And we talked about that at the beginning of the year when we were talking about food chains and things like that. But the important thing about decomposers is those simple plants die. And these decomposers, whether they be microscopic decomposers or earthworms, things like that, they eat that dead stuff. And then they either poop it out, or, now bacteria doesn't do that, but bacteria breaks it down such, and we end up with what?
Soil.
Well,
Humus.
We end up with humus. Okay, humus is that nutrient-rich stuff that makes up a good bit of the topsoil that we know and love. Okay, so humus, not hummus, but humus. Okay, that humus is very important because it becomes mixed with the rock pieces. Finally, a material that can be called soil is produced. Soil is a mixture of tiny rock particles, minerals, humus, water, air. So it's all these things combined. Okay, those things, minerals, rock particles, humus, water, and air, all that combines to make what we know as soil. You know, when we put the stuff into our terrariums at the beginning of the year, that soil, it wasn't just dirt. Dirt really dirt is a conglomeration or a mixture of all different kinds of things. Soil has humus and minerals and air and water and rock particles all mixed in.
Minerals.
Sorry?
Minerals.
I think I said minerals. But humus is really important because that's the really nutrient-rich organic material that's really important. So, once that soil is there, and remember, does this happen overnight?
No.
Does it happen in a few months?
No.
A few years?
No.
What is it? How long does it take?
Thousands.
Hundreds and thousands of years. So the soil that's outside right now, the soil that these leaves are on, that you play out, run around on the playground, has taken hundreds of thousands of years to form. And I taught you about deforestation before. Does anyone remember what that means? Deforestation? Riley?
Taking down like the trees and stuff in the forest.
Right. The taking down of trees. That's deforestation. And deforestation can be a problem because when companies come in and they cut down all these trees and they dig up all these roots, what else? Not only do we lose the trees and we lose that oxygen, we lose the oxygen producing trees that we need so much. Also the carbon dioxide taking in trees that we need so much. But when those root systems go, what do the root systems help do? What do the roots of trees and plants, other plants, help do? Derek. Think back to the farming discussion. Luke.
Break down bedrock.
They do. You're right. Yes. Roots do that. But I'm thinking of another important job that roots do with connected to the soil. Sloan.
They keep the soil in place.
They keep the soil in place. Well, if the roots are gone, that soil's not staying in place when there's a good heavy downpour. Sedimentation occurs. When sedimentation occurs, you lose that topsoil, that horizon A, that really rich, and I don't mean has a lot of money. Okay, when I say rich and fertile, what do I mean by fertile? Toby.
It's almost like fertilizer. How to make it help it grow. And it's not fertilizer. It's just growing. But
You're on the right track. Ryan.
Got a lot of humus in the other varieties.
Okay. Yes. So what does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Mary Hayes? To be more fertile. And we're talking about soil. It's a bad thing?
No.
Well, what happens when it's really fertile land, really fertile soil? Elena. Come on. Naveed?
More plants.
More plants grow. If soil is really fertile, that means that it's a good place for plants to grow. If it's not fertile, not a good place for plants to grow. So if you're trying to start a farm, you're going to try to find soil that's fertile, rich in humus and other organic material.
You said humus.
I did say humus. Humus.